Every 34 minutes, Make-A-Wish grants the wish of a child diagnosed with a life-threatening medical condition in the United States. Every 34 minutes. Hi, I'm Steve Kime with the City of Enid. Welcome to the Roundtable today. We appreciate you spending time with us as we have a special guest. And we always talk at the Roundtable with the special guest, but also about a special event. Young man to my right is Dan Smith, the General Manager of Williams Broadcasting. Dan, welcome to the Enid Television Network studios.
Thank you.
Seems like we get together kind of once a year and talk about Make-A-Wish, and I appreciate that opportunity. Let's, in general terms, Dan, let's just talk about, it was enlightening to me. When I hear Make-A-Wish, for some reason I think of this global or U.S. Make-A-Wish Foundation kind of deal. But there is a Make-A-Wish Oklahoma, which is really was news to me years ago. So tell us about Make-A-Wish Oklahoma.
Well, I'll tell you, Steve, Make-A-Wish Oklahoma, they've been around, I think, since about 1987. And one of the reasons on a national level, they decided to go state to state. And like I said, in about 1987, they came to Oklahoma and they formed the organization. I guess the headquarters for Oklahoma is in Oklahoma City, but they also have a Tulsa office. Right. And for many years, they didn't have any type of recognition or coverage out in Northwest Oklahoma. And but Make-A-Wish Oklahoma, each year they look at providing, wishes and grant wishes for children with life-threatening medical illnesses. But their goals, range from anything that you want to wish for, anything that a child wants. There's a bunch of different things that how families can get involved. But I'll tell you, with Make-A-Wish Oklahoma, we have granted probably over 1,000 wishes since its inception in 1987.
That's very impressive, 1,000. We'll talk a little bit later in the program today about how a child is eligible and also what they can wish for, as Dan was alluding to. Let's shift gears a little bit, Dan, on a personal note. I've known you for about 5 years now, and I've known that you've had a personal interest in Make-A-Wish Foundation, Make-A-Wish Oklahoma, Make-A-Wish. And so there's that personal connection. Williams Broadcasting also involved. So let's go back to why the personal connection for Dan Smith and Make-A-Wish.
Well, I'll tell you, years ago, Alan Klepper, our program director, had come to me, and we sat down one morning, and he visited with me about he was watching ESPN the night before, and he visited with me about a wish that had taken place on ESPN, that there was a child that got to be at a baseball game and meet all the baseball players. I can't remember which professional team it was, but he said, I have, after seeing that, I'd like to maybe get involved and see what we could do as a radio station. So, Alan approached me on it, and we started making some calls. Come to find out, there is the lady who runs the Tulsa office, Jane Roweeder. I used to work with Jane in Tulsa for many, many years at Cox Media, and we called Jane up, and it just happened to be that they didn't have any representation in Northwest Oklahoma, and we thought Enid would be a great place to start Make-A-Wish and to start granting some wishes in Northwest Oklahoma. There had been some wishes that had been granted, but the recognition and the name wasn't so prevalent here in Northwest Oklahoma. So that's kind of how it all got started. And Alan had a vision, and I'm grateful for him to come and approach me with it, and that's how we got started years ago.
And I think those are similar stories to many individuals. Whatever cause they're supporting, they have a vision, or they have this a dream about just helping a nonprofit, and they just start talking, and then you find out other people can get connected. Mm-hmm. Well, we're talking today about Make-A-Wish Oklahoma, but we're also talking about a very special event coming up on Friday, September 8th. And it involves Williams Broadcasting, Alan Klepper, Dan Smith, and the entire team. But you're going to be at the parking lot, I understand, at Galaxy Mattress. That's at O&K Garriott and also Van Buren. And so you got Alan Klepper. Now there's something to do with water. Is he underwater? I mean, typically he is daily, 24/7 underwater, but I think he really is going to be underwater. Tell us about the September 8th Friday event.
You know, we have, it's Wishes Underwater. It's going to be, like Steve said, Friday, September 8th. And Alan gets in scuba gear. He's in a bathtub basically all day long. We start at 7 a.m. in the morning and go to 6 p.m. in the evening. And this year we've usually had it at the RSVP Center. And this year Galaxy Mattress, which became one of our sponsors with it. And first off, I do want to say we've had just tremendous response, and I want to thank all our sponsors who have got involved with us this year again. But Galaxy Mattress, we're going to be on the corner there. Alan will be in that scuba gear and that fish tank.
And what time on Friday, September 8th, does he go underwater?
He goes underwater at 7 a.m.
Okay, early.
So he'll be underwater at 7 a.m. He'll take some breaks throughout the day, but please come by and help us with the cause for Make-A-Wish. Again, I know we're going to get into a little bit of what Make-A-Wish is and who can get involved, but come see us September 8th.
So that's a Friday, ladies and gentlemen. And Wishes Under, what'd you call it?
Wishes Underwater.
Underwater, okay. So join Alan Klepper and be underwater. So I guess the idea is come by and see Alan that's underwater because he's broadcasting. I guess he's playing country music, but I guess you can drop off the $100 bills, right? That's where you're supposed to be?
Yes. And if you'd like to volunteer your time as well, you can give us a call at 234-4230 if you'd like to volunteer. But, you know, any way you can help support, please do. But again, Friday, September 8th, starting at 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., we're going to be on that street corner.
Very good. Thank you for joining us again today at the round table. My very special guest is the General Manager at Williams Broadcasting, Dan Smith. Dan, let's talk just briefly. We got a short break coming up here in just a moment. But for a viewer that's watching this, they may not know who's eligible. Do you know some of the particulars on a child? We do know that it's, a child that's diagnosed with a life-threatening disease or medical condition. Do you know that age frame and some other qualifications?
Yeah, basically it's 2.5 years to up to 18 years.
Okay.
We've had high school students as well as children. We've had several wishes granted. Again, every people who are eligible, it's family members, it's friends that you know, but it's the kids with the life-threatening illnesses. It doesn't have to be terminal to be involved with Make-A-Wish. We just want to have the opportunity to grant wishes here in Northwest Oklahoma versus Oklahoma City or Tulsa. And again, since our inception of being a part of Make-A-Wish, since about 2010, we've increased, each year we've increased Make-A-Wish and granting wishes here in Northwest Oklahoma by about a dozen or so children. So if there is anyone that you know, friends, family, and you want to get involved, please give us a call at the radio station and we can get you into contact with the proper people.
Our topic today at the roundtable is Make-A-Wish Oklahoma, and also we're talking about the event that will be at Van Buren and Garriott at Galaxy Mattress on Friday, September 8th, where Alan Klepper will be broadcasting underwater on KOFM. They're collecting money for Make-A-Wish Oklahoma. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about the foundation, the organization, how you can be involved, and also how you can be involved on the September 8th event. And we'll take this short break. We'll be right back here at the roundtable. Welcome back to At the Round Table. I'm Steve Kine with the City of Enid and have the privilege really weekly to visit with a variety of difference makers, as I call them, in the Enid community. And our special guest today at the Round Table is Dan Smith, the General Manager at Williams Broadcasting. And we're talking about Make-A-Wish, Oklahoma, and also a special event coming up on Friday, September 8th. And this calendar just keeps on going so quickly, and we're talking about September.
Yes.
Let's go back to Williams Broadcasting and Dan Smith. Dan, just tell us a little bit about your role, your title, General Manager, and back in my radio days, that meant the General Manager made coffee to everything in between. So tell us about your role at Williams Broadcasting.
I think all of us at our radio station, whether it's Alan or Jay Curtis or Mandy or Amy and Rachel and others that we have working for us, our roles have changed over the years, but overall, I mean, I'm just kind of the facilitator of a lot of things. But when it comes to a radio station and just facilitating things throughout the radio station, it's really about the community and getting involved in the community. And that's one of the things I think for the last 8 years since I've been with Williams Broadcasting is getting more involvement in the community, and that's why we're here today to talk about Make-A-Wish. It's a very important part of this community, just like a lot of other things that we get involved with here in Enid and in Northwest Oklahoma. But Make-A-Wish is one of those things that is dear to our hearts. And like I said earlier, we got involved with them because of a dream that Alan kind of had.
Sure. Well, when I say we, excuse me, the City of Enid, we have the opportunity in our relationship with Williams Broadcasting. Every Wednesday morning, we have the opportunity to discuss city government news or city government happenings on the local radio station. So we've always appreciated that avenue and that relationship to do that. Dan, let's talk a little bit more about the child. Just a few moments ago, you mentioned a child that's eligible is 2.5 years up to 18. It's kind of that age frame. Now, who can refer a child? I'm sure mom and dad, but maybe mom and dad does not want to do that. How can a child get referred, I guess?
Anyone can refer a child to Make-A-Wish.
Okay.
Family members, friends. If you have people in your neighborhood and you know of a child or you know of a family member, they can be referred to the Make-A-Wish organization.
And I imagine medical folks, professionals, doctors, or whatever, they're very aware of Make-A-Wish. They may have a role in making that recommendation.
Yeah, I think St. Mary's and Integris, I think they get involved as well in some cases with, not so much, but at the same time they recognize sometimes the patients that they have and the children that come through there and the families, and so it's just basically everybody in the community can refer somebody to Make-A-Wish.
Yeah. I remember, Dan, years ago, I was back in the corporate world days. I was coming back from a business trip from Florida back to Tulsa, and there was this family, and they had on the plane coming back to Tulsa, they all had their Mickey Mouse ears on, their hats, if you will. And they had been to Disney World out in Orlando. Come to find out, that was one of the Wish kids that he wanted to go to, Disney World out in Florida. So that was kind of many, many years ago, but that was my first live encounter of a wish or a kid having a wish granted. So you shared the story about the ESPN involvement to have a child go to a baseball game. And we hear about Disneyland, Disney World, and meeting Dallas Cowboys and all these other things. What else can a child wish for?
We have had we had a kid in our own backyard a couple of years ago who just wanted a new car stereo, and so what we did is
with an 8-track player.
Yeah, exactly. He just wanted a new stereo system for his car. And so what we did is we worked with his parents and got the car away from him for about a week, and we put in a whole new stereo system for him. But also we did the we did the entire interior. We did the leather. We had his name stitched into the leather on the seats, and just really decked out the inside of his car. We also had another child who she, just wanted to be a princess. So we tied into Oklahoma City with their theater department at OCU, and they had a bunch of people that came up, and she got to be a princess for the day. So it's not just about going to Disney World
Right.
or going to meet your favorite celebrity or star or going to a baseball game. It's whatever dreams your child has. They can wish for about anything that they want, and we'll
Yeah.
try to make that happen.
And usually wishes don't have any boundaries with them, and people will work as hard as they can to make that wish come true. Well, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Well, this question is kind of a twofold avenue, I guess I'm getting at is, Dan, how can people get involved on Friday, September 8th, Galaxy Mattress, Alan Klepper's Underwater Broadcasting. The idea is come and support, Make-A-Wish Oklahoma, Alan's effort, Williams Broadcasting. How can people get involved on that Friday, September 8th, as you're saying, all day long?
What they can do is if they do want to volunteer, they can give us a call at the radio station 234-4230 and ask for me, and I can get them plugged in. Another way is
Excuse me, Dan, what would
Yeah.
they do? Somebody said, okay, I want to be involved, and I'll call Dan up. But so what does that involvement entail?
well, there's a lot of things behind the scenes that Alan needs or that we need for the bathtub tank, or just collecting money on the street corner.
Okay.
If they want to take a shift for an hour or a couple hours, they
Okay.
can do so. But also, I think what's important to us is if your company or your organization or your business, if you want to start taking a collection or helping us raise money to grant a wish, because again, a wish is roughly on the average is about $7,500, and the reason it's to me, I think sometimes, hey, that sounds like a lot of money. It is, but you got to realize it's not just for the child. It's also for the family members. It's for the brother and sister. Everyone goes through this organization to at least get that moment of to forget about exactly what their child has, and so it's for the entire family to just forget at that moment, whether it's Disney World or whatever the wish is, that they can all share together. And again, it's one of those things. I think with the more people that we get involved, the more wishes we could grant. So please give us a call.
You talked about how to get involved in the local event on Friday, September 8th, and there are some great opportunities to do so. But in the big picture, when you think of just Make-A-Wish in a United States sense or whatever, are there how can people get involved in that? I mean, okay, they're going to support Make-A-Wish Oklahoma, Northwest Oklahoma, but I'm sure there's, the big foundation, if you will. How would a person feel like they're contributing to that?
Well, we're always looking for people who can help us coordinate here in Northwest Oklahoma and help us try to find more people and more families to grant wishes to. So there are jobs and part-time help that they need. Again, just kind of spotters in our community. From Make-A-Wish Oklahoma standpoint, they're a small organization. There's not a lot of red tape to it. There's not a lot of politics to it. It's truly about just granting wishes to these kids. So we're always looking for spotters, if you will, to help us find kids in Northwest Oklahoma to grant wishes to.
Very good. Dan, we need to close out our visit here today, but you mentioned of this young woman in Tulsa as a contact. Tell us about somebody's watching our show and they're watching it months later and they want to get involved, or they moved to the Tulsa area, or they're in the Tulsa area seeing this. Is Jane, what was Jane's last name?
Jane Roweeder.
Okay, so we contact Jane, and her number that I have on my notes is 918-492-94 74. And also the website is oklahoma.wish.org. So anybody else that you know in Tulsa that they can contact, or is Jane the go-to person?
Jane is pretty much the go-to person
Okay.
in Tulsa, so you can give her a call in the Tulsa area.
Okay. Well, again, in summary, there's a big event locally, September 8th on Friday, all day, down at Van Buren and Garriott. Alan Klepper is going to be underwater, broadcasting live and underwater in a bass tank.
Yes, a bass tub tank.
Any bass with him, or is just?
No, but the tank is usually used the weekend before with a lot of bass in it, so it's not the
Okay.
most clean tank to be in, but he's,
Now that's something to look for.
yes.
Bass swimming by while Alan is underwater broadcasting. But then you can drop off your resources to help Make-A-Wish Oklahoma at that event on Friday, September 8th. Again, Dan, somebody's watching and said, okay, I've got an hour that I can volunteer and help them out. They contact Dan Smith at what number?
234-4230.
At Williams Broadcasting, and Dan will put you to work. Again, that's Friday, September 8th. Well, Dan Smith, thank you very much. Appreciate your involvement and taking the leadership handle, I guess, for Make-A-Wish Oklahoma here in Enid, Northwest Oklahoma. And I know with your relationships to the folks in Tulsa, you always stay plugged in. So
Yes.
thanks for joining us at the round table today.
Thank you.
Keep that in mind, Friday, September 8th. Make-A-Wish Oklahoma, a big fundraising event right here in Enid, Oklahoma. So, Dan, thank you, and thank you for joining us here at the round table. I'm Steve Kime with the City of Enid. Until the next time, make it a great day. Thank you, everyone.